IT technical issues, but now we're fully up and running and hopefully everything will run very smoothly throughout the meeting. Okay, given the pandemic, only elected members need to be physically present in meetings to make decisions, and so officers of the council can join meetings remotely. The presenting officers today will do so remotely. There are 3 officers in the room that will help the panel during the hearing this morning. The first note is that this meeting is being streamed live. If you do intend to photograph or film the proceedings, then can I ask that you do so in such a manner as not to stop other members of the public from speaking freely.
Phil Cusack, Jim Dawson, Jane Hamilton, Mike McCusker, Neil Reynolds, Peter Taylor, Phil Tresidder, John Commission, and yourself, Chair.
I mean, that's 10 members present.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Okay, members, are you happy to include part 1 and 2 of the agenda? Thank you. Any declarations of interest? Councillor Cusack?
Thanks, Chair. I'm a member of the Council of the University of Salford, and any applications that have gone through on delegated powers, I've been advised that I need to make a declaration of interest in regard to.
Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Cusack. Okay, members, are you happy to approve the minutes from the 20th of January this year? It's been a while since our last meeting, so I might be a bit rusty this morning, members, but I can clearly see that you guys are all geared up for it, so I'm sure you'll keep me on track. Okay. Okay, shall we move on to planning applications? We've got item 5A. Mr. Williams is the presenting officer for this and the case officer, and this is on your amendment sheet as well, and it's pages 13 to 40 on your agenda. Mr. Williams, can I hear your voice?
Good morning, Chair. Can you hear me?
I can indeed, Mr. Williams. Mr. Williams, I can see your presentation as well. Could you go forward the screen and back? Just to check.
Of course.
It hasn't moved at the moment, Mr. Williams. We'll just give that time. I'll just ask them. There you go. It just moved then. Members, can I just, before Mr. Williams has the floor, can I just remind you that Ms. Edwards sent out an email of the planning balance sheets yesterday evening, and there is an application, and it's 5A on them for you to have on your screens. Mr. Williams, you have the floor. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning, everybody. My name's Andrew Williams, and I'm the case officer presenting planning application 21/76773/FUL at land between Crosby Avenue and Crompton Street in Walkden. The proposal seeks permission for the construction of 5 affordable houses alongside 12 supported living apartments with associated landscaping, private gardens and access road from Crosby Avenue. The recommendation is to approve the conditions and the signing of the Section 111 and Section 106 agreement. The application site comprises a rectangular piece of informal open space located along Crompton Street, a residential road to the south of the A6 Manchester Road, linking Wardley to the east to Walkden to the west. It is positioned amongst a predominantly residential area and within close proximity to St Paul's C of E Primary School and also Oakwood Park and Recreational Ground. This slide provides an aerial view of the application site, which is bounded by residential properties and garaging. The surrounding built form comprises predominantly 2-storey dwellings, from which those to the north and east are largely Victorian or late Edwardian terraces, positioned hard on the boundary and carriageway, whilst the south and east comprise more contemporary semi-detached properties, which are set back within their respective curtilages with off-street car parking. For the benefit of members, I've also annotated the entrance to Oakwood Park beyond Old Clough Lane to the right-hand side here. These images are taken from Crompton Street, looking south towards the informal open space. As you can see, the site undulates down towards the southern boundary with trees to the peripheries. The application site is also bounded along the western perimeter by hedging and on 3 sides by residential development. The next slide provides imagery as taken from Crosby Avenue itself, a short cul-de-sac adjoining the southern boundary of the application site, and one which will provide main vernacular access into the proposed development. In this regard, please note the setback nature of the properties along Crosby Avenue and the photographs to the bottom here, and available of off-street car parking and wide pavements with grassed verges. In terms of the proposed development, it seeks the construction of an apartment building providing specialist supporting living accommodation for those with learning difficulties. I'll refer to this as Block A. The building itself would comprise 10 one-bedroom apartments, 4 being wheelchair accessible, measuring between 52 and 56 square metres, 2 two-bedroom apartments measuring 71 square metres. Residents will also benefit from a residence lounge. There will also be staff accommodation, office and meeting rooms, and there will also, and a landscaped private garden incorporating bin storage and cycle parking alongside a 13-bay car park. Just to the south of Block A, seeks permission for the construction of 5 affordable units, 3 two-bedroomed and 2 three-bedroomed houses, again with private rear gardens and 1 car parking space per dwelling. All properties exceed nationally prescribed space standards. In terms of the proposed site layout, the proposal seeks construction of 2 blocks of residential development. Block A, comprising the specialist supporting living accommodation, would be sited to the north, with main pedestrian access formed from Crompton Street. A private outside amenity space would be formed to the side, with access onto the extended access drive, that is a Crosby Avenue. Sorry. The turning area would culminate at a 13-bay car park used solely by visitors and staff or residents of Block A. The second block to the south here, aligning with number 13 Crosby Avenue, will comprise 2-storey dwelling houses with 1 off-street car parking space delineated by designated bin stores and private gardens. I've also annotated on the drawing the location of 2 Category C trees, which are due for removal to facilitate the proposed development, alongside a small portion of hedging alongside number 1 Crompton Street. The remaining trees and hedgerows delineating the application site shall be retained, and a further hedging and replacement trees incorporated into the scheme. In respect to Block A, these drawings provide an illustration of the residential accommodation from Crompton Street itself, facing towards the west here is number 1. Sorry, the east here is number 1, Crompton Street. As viewed along Crompton Street itself, the development would appear 2-storey, with the dashed outline being street level, and a staggered built form towards number 1. The elevational treatment would be constructed from corresponding to tonal red brick with brick patterning and contemporary fenestration detailing. As viewed from the side elevation to the bottom of the screen here, the building extends further to the left, appearing 2-storey under a gable-ended pitched roof with habitable room windows. The next slide provides elevations of Block A facing north and then again facing east to the bottom here. Due to the sloping topography across the site, a proportion of Block A will be 3 stories in height, as you can see here, whilst the gable-ended projection would be 2 stories. This slide also provides an illustration of the proposed boundary treatments, brick walling being one of those. The bottom slide provides a clear profile of the topographical changes and height differentiations across the site. It is also noted that the hatching seam to the first floor windows here illustrates where obscure glazing will be located in an effort to reduce any perceived levels of overlooking into neighbouring properties, but also provide a degree of privacy for future occupants. This slide shows the proposed ground floor of Block A with 4 spacious apartments, staff accommodation, ancillary office space and a residence lounge used for those occupants. It also provides an indicative landscaping plan for the outdoor amenity space and the position of bin and cycle storage. On refuse collection day, it's proposed that the bins will be brought to a temporary holding area for refuse operators, as annotated here. The next slide provides a street scene of the principal elevations of the dwelling houses, facing onto the extended Crosby Avenue, with existing property of number 13 to the right-hand side. The houses are to be two-storey, constructed in corresponding red brick as per Block A, under gable-ended pitched roofs. The elevational treatment is to be contemporised by the fenestration patterns and brick detailing. This slide also provides the location of the internal designated bin storage areas, which will be softened with raised soft landscaping features. In terms of the proposed floor plans for the dwelling houses themselves, as you can see here, we have the ground floor and then the first floor, all providing spacious accommodation, in addition to the one car park space, off-street car parking space per dwelling, and also the private rear gardens as seen here. Next slide provides visuals of the proposed development. So the photograph at the top here provides an illustration as viewed from Crosby Avenue, looking north into the site, whereas the bottom photograph here provides an indication of how the site is going to be seen from Crofton Street. So in terms of the planning balance, the proposed development is considered to represent an efficient use of an allocated greenfield site within a defined urban area. It will contribute towards an identified need for specialist care and affordable housing for local residents. The design is considered to be complementary and remains locally distinctive. It's considered that there will be no detrimental impact upon the amenities afforded to neighbouring residential properties, given the spatial distances maintained. The proposal would not lead to severe cumulative harm upon the highway network. There were no objections received from statutory or non-statutory consultees, subject to the attachment conditions, and the applicant has agreed to make a financial compensatory payment towards the improvement of local recreational grounds. Also thought it would be useful to just list or outline the concerns raised by local residents. As you can see, there were 93 letters of representation received, which have been responded to within within the panel report and also the additional information report. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. Thank you so much. Okay, I do believe I have 3 people who'd like to speak in objection to this application. I've got Mr. Craig Thompson, Laura Bowker, and Colin Doherty. Is that correct? Great. Would you raise your hands if you're here? I do apologise. Oh, great. It's 5 minutes each, guys. Who's going first? Thank you. Oh, Ms. Bowker, if you'd be so kind to tell us where you reside, it just helps with context of your submission for members of the panel. And then you have 5 minutes to speak, and I'll give you a shout at 4 minutes just to help time yourself. Is that okay?
Thank you. So I live on Crosby Avenue, and I'm here on behalf of Crosby Avenue residents. Obviously, we're coming through the avenue to access the new development, so I'm here on behalf of that.
Okay. Your 5 minutes whenever you're ready.
Okay, perfect, thank you. So, dear panel, thank you for letting me speak today. Today, you have the power to destroy the quality of life of the residents surrounding this site, or, as I hope you do, work as custodians, community you work for, and reject this application to steal a wonderful area of green space for the community of Walkden. As a first note, in the Property and Regeneration Briefing of August 2020, in which it was decided to dispose of this land, the decision states that, and I note, comments made can be addressed and mitigated through the planning process. This application has not addressed or mitigated any of the comments made and has made a mockery of the so-called consultation process. I will focus on just a small number of the planning policies that this application defies. The first one I'd like to address is Policy R1, UDP, concerning the protection of recreation land and facilities.
This policy deems that the development of recreation land or facility will not be permitted unless various criteria are satisfied. It is worthy of note that the wording "will not" is used in this policy. One such requirement is that the applicant must clearly demonstrate that the site is surplus to recreational requirements. In 2021, the Council confirmed that it had a waiting list of over 900 people for an allotment which is considered as a recreational requirement. Therefore, this green space cannot possibly be surplus to recreational requirements. The wording of this policy, approving this application would be a direct violation of the express wording of Planning Policy R1. The second point is the high associated residential amenities which are considered in policies 8, D, E, S, 7, is a narrow residential cul-de-sac with 12 houses. Most houses have 2 cars for 1 car on the ways. This results in on-street parking for most of the houses on the cul-de-sac. There appears to be a proposal to install double yellow lines on the avenue and speed bumps to accommodate this development. Doing so will have a huge and unacceptable impact on the residential amenity currently afforded to Crosby Avenue residents. And back to the point of made and addressed and mitigated through a concern, but being considered as part of this application. In addition, the junction to Old Clough Lane is of concern for safety. If you know the area, you will be aware that cars are regularly parked on this corner, making it a blind corner with no visibility splay. Development will undoubtedly increase traffic through this junction and ultimately lead to an accident. I consider that it would be therefore irresponsible to approve this application considering the increase of danger on the highway. Finally, concerning the viability assessment by the applicant was aware of the risks involved with development before submitting this application. Surely the developer should have made suitable obligations. The panel must remember that the developer decides to build on this plot of land and a community should not suffer at the hands of this decision. As you can see, I have demonstrated several reasons that this application must be rejected. Not only this, this is only the tip of the iceberg. I therefore implore you to act as custodians of the local community and reject this application to save our Crompton Street field, and respect the quality of life of the existing residents. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Appel. Thank you. Thanks, Jim. Thank you. Okay, I've got Mr. Thompson and Mr. Doherty. Who's going next? Hi, sir.
The primary role of Great Places is to provide high-quality neighbourhood tenancy management for our customers and to promote independence and well-being for some of society's most vulnerable people. The Great Places development teams delivered over 6,000 new homes over the past 10 years, largely with the support of Homes England and in partnership with local authorities. The new build homes have responded to local need and prioritised delivery of homes which meet demand in specific neighbourhoods. This includes significant investment in Salford. In the last few years, Great Places has a track record of delivering successful affordable housing schemes, including recently completed developments at Eaton Works in Walkden, Astley Road in Earlham, Old Lane and Seddon Street in Little Hulton, and Duchy Road in Elmuther Heights, to name a few. These schemes total more than 220 affordable homes. The organisation continues to invest in its communities through stock investment, customer services, adding social value and further new developments. This financial year, we're anticipating completion of 600 new homes, and we have circa 1,500 affordable homes on site at present. Despite these volumes, the delivery of specialist housing remains a priority and a key part of our programme. It is recognised that this is such a critical part of our role as a housing association. We have worked for a number of years on the progression of a number of specialist housing sites in Salford, with this proposal for Crompton Street being one of those. The proposed scheme at Crompton Street will provide a mix of housing comprising 12 specialist supported living apartments and 5 2 and 3 bedroom general needs houses for affordable rent. The much needed specialist apartments will provide living accommodation for Salford citizens with a learning disability who are in transition, currently in less suitable accommodation, and to new users whose needs will be met by this type of accommodation and care service. It will enable them to live an independent adult life in a supported environment whilst being able to maintain contact with close family, develop friendships and interests, and take part in activities that add value to the community, including volunteering and supported employment. People who come to live in the apartments will be chosen by Salford City Council to ensure the accommodation continues to meet the needs of all tenants. The scheme will have a dedicated and trained staff team on site 24 hours a day that will help and support people on a one-to-one basis with care and support needs relating to daily living skills, including shopping, cooking, and for some, support with personal care linked to their learning disability. Great Places have delivered and managed several existing supporting housing schemes in Salford, including at Langworthy, Lower Broughton and Eccles. We already have a service level agreement in place with Salford City Council, which relates to Great Places learning disability schemes commissioned by the Adult Social Care team, and to which the proposed scheme at Crompton Street would be added. The close working partnership between Great Places as landlord, Salford Adult Social Care and the care provider will ensure the long-term investment in the scheme and scale positive outcomes for Salford citizens. The proposal will contribute to the delivery of improvements in service quality for this group of citizens, providing care closer to home, delivering value for money in the provision of housing and care, and provide a significant saving for these services. The proposed 2 and 3 bedroom houses meet the requirements of Salford's planning policy with the inclusion of larger 3 bedroom homes and will deliver much needed accommodation to those families on the housing register. Great Places has worked closely with stakeholders, including Salford City Council and the Clinical Commissioning Group, to bring this proposal forward to deliver a high quality scheme to satisfy an identified specialist accommodation need in line with local authority expectations and to support the long-term service provision and management of the facility.
Thank you, Mr. Thank you so much. Thank you, Daniel. Councillor Said.
Thank you so much, Chair.
No problem, Councillor Said. Councillor Said has read out. You have 5 minutes. Whenever you get started, at short time start, and I'll give you a shout at 4 minutes. Is that okay?
Thank you so much. Well, good morning, everyone. Well, today I'm not here to defend oligarchs, businessmen, or the big corporates or the businessmen. I'm here to defend the local community here, the residents whose homes are there. I'm not going to repeat what has been already said, but I will definitely tell you that I know and understand there is a housing crisis. And I do support the need for more housing, but the big push for housing needs to be managed in much more sensible way by listening to the residents behind me and their concerns. So that's why I'm supporting them today here. There's a strict guidance in law in which planning panel must adhere. I request Chair and all the panel members over here to reject this proposed development of the land between the Crosby Avenue and Crompton Street at Walton. There are many intersectional reasons why more than 100 residents, they have in presentation 93, but I have got the figure of more than 100 residents have objected to this proposal. What they are asking is a green space with a cleaner air for their children and a place where communities come together and feel safe. The place they call home. So we are talking about home, not about businesses. Building beautiful should mean creating communities that enhances residents' physical and mental well-being. But this development will do the opposite, because the development that is already there has not been built looking at the new builds that we are one, because there's a small streets and the cul-de-sac, so I'm not going to repeat that, what has been already said. The green space is being very well used by all the residents living in the area. This pandemic has clearly shown that green spaces are essential for physical and mental health. The current proposal for the land between Crosby Avenue and the Crompton Street will increase the amount of traffic and air pollution. Green spaces are needed more than ever before. The place we are discussing today is a home to Brian Farrow. He is 18 years old and lived locally most of his life. Stuart Wharton is living in the area since 1980, and many other families whose homes are there. The home is the one place where we can be ourselves and shut out negativity from the world outside. It is so important to have a place where we can go and feel protected.
Supported living for people with learning disabilities to outweigh the green space requirement on this site, and therefore, Chair, I would like to propose we accept the application. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Cusack. I've got Councillor McCusker and Councillor Clark. Anybody else? Councillor Trent.
Yeah, normally Councillor Cusack accuses me as the
Strategy, as explained within the case officer report, sorry, GS 17 of the Salford Green Space Strategy SPD.